Before for questions for Coach?
Coach, I know you guys had a lot to do in a short amount of time this offseason leading up to the start of the season. How has the progress been so far with that task?
Yeah, for the most part, our guys are competing, and we went a little lighter this morning. We've had a couple this is our second two-a-day, our fourth practice, and our message to our players is to grow each day. And there's times where you see progress, and there's times where we take steps back. And our biggest thing is fighting through adversity. Our guys are really good when things are going well out there, but when the tough times hit, that's when they have a tendency of shutting down, which you see that at all levels. And we just got to continue to battle through those times. And we're trying to figure out which of our players are mentally tough enough to go out there and perform at a high level 100% of the time. And, this is the benefit of these 10 practices that we have right now. We had 3 weeks with 9 of our guys, and now we've got the other 6 in. The one that has not been here is Yvonne, who will meet us in Italy. But, they're out there working, and we've had a lot of film sessions with these guys. We're throwing a lot at them, maybe too much at this point, but our big thing now is trying to find out who can pick things up in a short amount of time and apply it to the floor, who can translate from a drill into live play. And again, the important thing is fighting through the tough times.
It's probably hard to compare, but day one, again, for Iowa State compared to day one here, is there any parallels or any differences you see there?
Yeah, I think you see it everywhere. And, I can pretty much promise you anybody that's at this stage of the game right now that's preparing for a trip or going through their workouts in their early stages walk away from the court a lot of times pissed off because you have too many turnovers and you're sloppy. And, again, the thing that we're looking for is when we do close this thing after our 10th practice and get on the airplane to go over to Italy, we're a lot better and a lot further ahead than where we are now. And we have a lot of room to grow. And, but again, that's everybody at this stage that's preparing for one of these trips.
What do you see, or what are you looking to see in an early benchmark like a trip like this that maybe you're not having super high expectations of the team, but you want to see certain things cleaned up from practice?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us as a staff is to see the competitive edge that these guys go out and play with. And again, when things are going well, we're pretty good. We're out there talking and playing with a swagger and competing and have confidence. And then we go 4 or 5 possessions where tough things happen, and then that's when you see some of the shutdown. And that's where I think we need the most growth at this time. And we've got a lot of new faces, and these guys have never really played before, any of them, with the exception of Thor and Burke a little bit last year. So you've got all these new guys that you're trying to figure out where they fit in the court. We're going to experiment with lineups a lot on this trip. I just put in a new set and a new system yesterday that we need to start picking up better. But, the thing that we're looking for most with our players is to go out there and compete. And it's as simple as that. If you go out there and play hard, that if you make mistakes and you have errors, if you're out there competing, you can live with those.
Is there any reason why Cam can't practice yet?
Cam's still finishing up. He's got one more class that he's finishing up that we'll hope to get good news on that in the next couple days.
He'll be able to play in Italy?
He'll be able to play in Italy, correct.
You say good news in the next couple, how long?
Well, hopefully in the next 48 hours, we'll get news that he's completed a class that he needed to get his eligibility.
Fred, have you had to put masking tape on their foreheads with last names?
I've called them the wrong names a lot. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Listen, we're still getting to know these guys. They're still getting to know us. What our style is like. They're still trying to figure out what Doc's saying with his accent. So, the only guy who understands him is Kevin Cross. But our guys, again, I have liked the competitive spirit of these guys. I really have. And again, I'll just keep going back to, finding a way to battle through the tough times. And we're showing growth at times, but, we still need to grow in that area.
Is this the most important thing, is just getting acquainted with each other?
Yeah, it is a big part of it. Sometimes you forget a little bit that these guys are all just coming together for the first time. And, the group that was here when did we start? When was it, Seamus? In June, when we had our first summer session, the guys are here. They're further ahead. They should be at this time. But then you get Hanif here, who's a great leader. He's got as good a voice as anybody out there on the floor, helping the young guys through the process. You get a guy like Mate here who has a very high basketball IQ. You get Shamil in here who's been through, this is his third team now. He's seen and done a lot of the basics. So, just to get the older guys that are coming in here for the first time and you mix them with the younger players that we have, and you just try to build the team. And that's our job right now.
Deshaun was supposed to be kind of the next guy at Nebraska whenever he was recruited here. Now he's kind of in this new mix of guys. What's the key for kind of integrating him into the offense and integrating him into the whole team? Yeah,
Deshaun he's very talented, and that's one thing. He's got one thing in his mind a lot of times, and that's scoring a ball. Which that some people just have that mentality, and he's got that. He's got that in his DNA is to go score the basketball, and he can do it in a lot of ways. He shot the ball well. He shot it very well in June and July. He's going through a little bit of a slump right now, but he's a guy that can get downhill and get to the basket. Our biggest thing to Deshaun is making simple plays. He's at times tries to force the issue, drive through two, but when he draws the defender, his job is to make the simple play. And again, you saw one of the drills we did today was about making simple plays when they're there. When you draw two, you've done your job. Now make the simple play, and it's up to the next player to make the next one. But yeah, I've been very pleased with Deshaun. The one thing that kid, you're never going to have an issue with is he's going to go out there and play hard.
Balance getting these guys into the system versus fitting your system to the athletes that you have?
Well, that's our job as coaches, is to put our players in a position where he can utilize their skill sets. And there's some pretty unique players. Samari Curtis is a guy that can shoot it from anywhere. And sometimes you see him shoot a shot 4 feet behind the line, and you get mad at him. But then you look at the stats, and he's shooting almost 50% from three. So he's a guy that can make tough shots. And again, that's what we're learning about our group is who are those guys that can score the ball. So our job again is to put them in a position to where they can be successul.
An update on Shamil's waiver request, and are you still feeling fairly confident about that?
No update with Shamil at this point.
So if Shamil can't play until the spring, when you start the season before Christmas, would you have 10 scholarship players that would be active?
I don't know, something like that. I'll say this too. Another guy that I've been very pleased with is Thor. Thor is somebody in the system that we have out there right now. It's a lot of read and react and try to figure out how the defense is playing. And Thor's got a very good basketball IQ. So he's picking things up very well. And again, a guy that's played in the Big Ten. He started at the end of the year in the Big Ten. So. I feel whatever happens with our waivers, we feel good about our team.
Fred, when you talk about the competitive edge, mental toughness element you're looking at, is that something that you can improve in a guy?
I think you can. You just, you talk till you're blue in the face, and again, I'll go back to this. When things are going great out there, yeah, those guys are competing and they're talking better. It's just continuing to watch film with them. We have individual film sessions. We have team film sessions. And you sit in there and you ask questions. And, I am a guy that tries to make it interactive to where everybody's involved. And you ask a kid, Gervais, what are you doing on this? Talk me through this. Why did you do this play? Why aren't you talking to Shamil? Those types of things. So, we try to get those guys talking amongst each other, and then they can go out on the floor and be real with each other and hold each other accountable to where they don't take it personal. And that's when you have a group. That's when you're making progress, when your guys are out there on the floor and they can talk to each other.
Delano can't play next year, but he'll be able to play in Italy.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him early on, and how big of an asset, especially because Ivan can't play in Italy?
Yeah, he's telling you, he's got all the potential in the world with his size and his ability to pass the ball, play make. He's athletic. He's improving with his shot. He's putting a lot of time and effort into it. So with a full year of being able to work on his overall skill, I think he's got a chance to be special when it's all said and done because of his size and his length and his ability to make plays.
With Derek and Delano in general, them sitting out this year, how much, or I guess what roles are they going to play? How are they going to be able to help you this year?
Yeah, they'll play very key roles on this team, even if they're not out there playing on the floor. They'll be running scout team. They'll hopefully see in the sideline, build chemistry with each other, help with leadership when they see a guy come off the floor and, maybe they're frustrated or upset with something. But yeah, those guys are going to be asked to do a lot of things because, again, they've been in it. You look at Derek, a guy that spent his first 2 years at Tennessee in a high-level program playing for a great coach. He can help these guys through some growing pains, even though he won't be on the floor this year.
Fred, I mean, obviously your strength is coaching offense, but can you kind of verbalize how important Doc is to this and how much defense has to be part of this?
Yeah, obviously you have to be able to defend if you're going to have a chance to win, and that's where, for me, it was so important to get a guy like Doc here that can really help. That's coached in this league, that is one of the most respected coaches in this game as far as what he does on the defensive end of the floor. For Doc, it's very simple. It's all about getting back, communicating, rebounding, and we need to grow in all those areas. We're I would say very poor as far as our overall communication right now. Some guys are obviously way better than others. Getting back, setting your defense in transition, and then rebounding, and that's going to be an issue for us this year because of our size that we're going to be giving up on a nightly basis. But if you can collectively do it and you get your guards and they're helping on that area, you're going to have a chance. But Doc's the best. He's what he's done in his career is pretty remarkable, and the people that he has coached under, he lays it out very clearly to the team as far as what we want to do on that end of the floor.
When you're putting together a team where you're bringing in basically double-digit number of new guys that are all coming together for the first time, how much do you weigh personalities as far as meshing them, like alphas and betas and that sort of a thing?
Yeah.
And then how has that kind of shown up here as you start to get to know them as they're on campus?
Yeah,
now?
I mean, you try to force them. I think we're going to take them bowling tomorrow. Just again to force them to talk to each other a little bit. The great thing about Italy, I look back at my time, my second year, I guess it was at Iowa State, when we had all those transfers become eligible. It was a great opportunity for our guys to go really spend quality time together, and we need that. We need that in a big way. The funny thing about those trips, our guys, the most thing they looked forward to was getting back to the hotel where they had Wi-Fi so they could get back on their phones, which is kind of sad, but that's just the reality, the world that we live in right now. But when you sit at a dinner after you play a game, and we're going to have, I think, 2 very high-level games against a Lithuanian pro team over there, but you go and you sit around and you talk about it where you don't have the distraction of that little device that they become so attached to. But that's a huge part of this opportunity in front of us, is the chance to build the chemistry with each other. We don't have a time frame right now. You get the 4 hours a week. Generally in the off season right now, we can go for 8 hours a day if we want to. I wouldn't do that, but we get 2 practices with them. We went an hour and a half this morning. We'll probably go 2.5 tonight and get them up and down and scrimmage a lot. So it's a lot of opportunities for our guys to get to know each other, build chemistry, see who can play together, especially when times are tough, and who can play with each other down the stretch.
You mentioned Samari being a three-point shooter in practice, but any other guys you believe are going to be quality? Do you think this could be an overall good perimeter shooting team this year?
We'll see. Mate Kavas is a guy that's proven it at the collegiate level, shooting 46 from 3 a year ago. Every time it comes off his hand, I think it's going in. He's been really good. Shamil has played at a high level. I think he's got a chance to be a good shooter. Burke, again, is shooting the ball well. We've worked a lot in his footwork, really to try to clean things up. Collectively, I think we have a chance. We're going to put a lot of time and effort into it, I promise you that. And hopefully, guys step up and make them.
Much more questions, man?
What do you envision Hanif's role on the team being?
Yeah, again, I see Hanif as being one of our leaders, and he's always talking, and that's where it starts with your guys. If they're going to lead, they got to be able to talk out there on the floor, and you've seen that. He's only been out here for, was it 3 practices, Seamus? Our 3rd practice today, but you've seen early on that he's a guy that really will try and talk to the team. So I think leadership is a big thing where it starts with him. He's a tough kid. I do think defensively he's going to go out there and battle. He's another guy that can make a shot. Again, we're working on a lot of fundamentals, especially with the guys that are just starting with our practicing. But I've loved what I've seen out of Hanif. I think he's got a chance to have a great year.
He said he's still trying to figure out where the best places to eat are. He's
Me
still
too.
Very, very new around here.
Yeah.
In your experience, is that unique for a guy that's in just a completely new situation to be that comfortable talking and being a voice? On
Yeah,
the board?
but a lot of times, you ask the question, can you teach it? Can you teach, those little things? Can you teach guys to be better communicators? It's an innate quality in Hanif. He's got it in him. And, a lot of that probably stems from the fact he's played at a high level. He started at Marquette, and for a reason to get closer to his mother, he went down to Florida Gulf Coast. But he's played in two very good systems where I think he's probably been forced to do that. But you can tell he's got it in him. We could tell when he was recruiting him that he was going to be one of our better leaders.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Nice seeing you all.